I will welcome us to the Fountain Farms online community training. Thanks for coming on board today. Let's wait a little for others to join. Okay, so as we wait, let's tell us a little bit about Fountain Farms. Fountain Farm is just a small farm established in the year 2009. Is a leading player in the fisheries, the aquaculture industry, and basically our primary focus is on artificial breeding of all species of catfish. We are also into farm setup services, training of individuals and organizations, small or large groups, and we're actually into consultancy services, either online or on-site consultancy services. At Fountain's Farm, we are dedicated to helping individuals, and not just only individuals, but also organizations, to learn the art of fish breeding through our training programs. We are having a type of it today. For a very long time, we have been holding physical training on fish breeding, fish farming, and its related on our physical farm. But people have been asking us for a long time that when are we going to take it online? And that has actually enabled us to take this bold step to start looking for ways we can actually bring our trainings online also. One thing about us at Fountain Farms is that we believe in sharing our knowledge. We believe in sharing our expertise to ensure sustainable growth in this industry. We believe in stretching out a helping hands to young people, youths, who are looking for one thing or the other to do, as well as we also make our presence known also. So at Fountain Farms, we are committed to making sure that we also provide top-notch services and products to our clients. So we can also do well to refer us to people. We do consultancy, farm setup service, like we said. We can also help us to establish our online presence. So what do you think you can give back to Fountain Farms is that we help us to broadcast our presence online so that a lot of people can actually benefit. So the topic we have at hand today is a repetition of our day one topic on artificial breeding of catfish. We'll quickly go through it once again, and today we'll be opening up for a lot of questions and answer sessions where you are free to ask your questions, and I'm going to take your question once after the other so that we find a good answer to it. So we can see the slides. We can see the slide. Okay, so today we are looking at artificial breeding of catfish once again. We have various aspects or various species of catfish. We have the Claras garipinus, These are the scientific names of some of these catfish. We have the Clarus gariepinus, we have the Clarus angularis. These species are often referred to as pure Clarus, or some people also refer to them as Dutch. We also have within the catfish species to include the Heterobanchus longiphilis, the Heterobanchus bidorsalis. These are also species of catfish. Although they belong to the same family, but they are of different species. So sometimes when you are going into artificial breeding of catfish, you need to be intentional about the particular one you want to breed. Before we go more into the in-depth knowledge, let's look at what is artificial breeding. Artificial breeding of catfish is a very highly effective method of breeding catfish. And particularly today, we are going to talk about artificial breeding of catfish through hypophysation. Hypophysation only looks like a big word, but it's just what we refer to as the stimulation. It's known as the stimulation of egg maturation. And we can see the process of the hypophysation as played on our slide, that this process actually involves the injection of hormones. Injection of hormones. We have two types of hormone. We have the synthetic hormone, and we also have the natural hormone. We'll talk more about that when we get to the step that involves that we should talk about hypophysation. So the essence of hypophysation, like we said, is to actually stimulate the maturation and the release of eggs from the female fish. Because it is artificial, because it is not natural, it means that there has to be an initiation, there has to be what we refer to as inducement. There has to be an inducement because these eggs will not naturally come out from the female fish by itself, so we have to induce it. And that's why we are picking this method as our best method for breeding of catfish in captivity. I would like to say that today's youth needs to recognize that the profitability of catfish farming through hypophysation is a very promising source. One beautiful thing about going into artificial breeding of catfish, amidst all other aspects of fishery or in the fishery industry, is that artificial breeding of catfish, number one, is very lucrative. Number two is that it also requires a low startup costs. You don't need big money to start. You don't need millions to start. As far as you have a source of water that is good, you don't need millions to start. And to add to it, it's a lucrative source of business as far as you can pay good attention to it. And that is why if we must advise any youth today, if we must advise any job seeker, somebody who is looking for what to do, somebody who has passion within the agricultural industry, somebody who has passion within the fishery industry, one of the things that we encourage to today's youth and job seekers who wants to come into the industry is to try artificial breeding of catfish. Number one, because of its low startup cost. Number two, because it's easy to start. It's easy to start. Amidst all the fish culturing facilities that we can use in order to do the startup of artificial breeding of catfish, there are low-cost facilities. There are low-cost facilities. And so beautifully, there is always a market for it. There is a consistent demand, meaning there is always an open market for the product of breeding, which is the fingerlings or the juveniles, as the case may be. So we talk about the use of hypophysation in the other slide. And it's so important in catfish breeding because it actually allows a better control over the breeding process. It allows improved genetic quality of the fish, and this ensures that fingerlings produced are also healthy. It also ensures that they are strong. It also ensures that they are strong. It also ensures that they are healthy. It ensures a higher survival rate. It ensures better growth rates. And this actually gives the farmer or the young person who comes into this operation, it gives you a better result for yields and profits. And that is a very important factor. So furthermore, we say catfish farming is a sustainable and environmentally friendly form of aquaculture. And what do we mean by this? If you go into poultry, you want to do it maybe within a rented apartment, an open space that people are there. If care is not taken, you will realize that people will often complain. They will complain of the smell. They will complain that these livestock are disturbing. So it means that amidst all these agricultural products, artificial breeding is something that is easier to start. It does not smell. It does not disturb anybody around where you have placed it in an open space near your house at your backyard. Nobody is reason to complain. The water charge is not as much as the grow out section. So it is something you can do at your backyard because it has a minimal impact on the ecosystem compared to other forms of fish farming, compared to other forms of livestock farming. So choosing to breed catfish through improvisation, it's a good decision that young farmers can do in order that you can also be able to contribute your own quota to the sustainable development of aquaculture industry, and thereby you also as a person, you are now reaping financial benefits from this profitable venture. Okay, so in conclusion, artificial breeding of catfish through improvisation offers a promising opportunity. Why? Number one is profitability. Number two is low startup cost. Number three is high demand in the market. There is nothing like I can't sell my fish. Nothing like that. Next is that catfish farming has been known to be a successful and a rewarding business. Despite the numbers of people who are venturing into the farming, we are still yet unable to meet up with the required